Hey there, YouTube fam. Buckle up for two insane stories that'll have you laughing, gasping, and maybe even shouting at the screen. First up, we've got a roommate nightmare with a sink full of dirty dishes and a kitchen crawling with bugs gross, right? Then, we're diving into a juicy drama about a guy whose ex tried to scam him out of their house but got served a big dose of karma instead. These tales are all about standing up to laziness and betrayal, so let's jump right in. My housemates left a mountain of dirty dishes and took off for 3 days. I'm fed up with this, so now the kitchen stinks and there's a bunch of bugs. I'm 27, living with 3 guy roommates who are grad students. I have the master bedroom, and they live on the other side of the house. They're all about 2 years younger than me, so I've kind of become the house mom by default. Most of the time, it doesn't bother me. I just say, "Hey guys, don't forget to do X," and they do it. But when it comes to cleanliness, I can't stay calm. When I cook, I either wash the dishes as I go or I soak them in the sink for a bit and wash them within a couple of hours. My roommates, though, they just leave everything. About 2 weeks ago, I got pissed because I wanted to cook some pasta, but there was so much dirty dishware in the sink that I couldn't even wash a pan. Out of irritation and maybe a bit of passive aggression, I washed all the dishes and then waited until all the guys were home to talk to them. I said, "Listen, I tried to wash a pan, but there was no space in the sink. I get that you're busy with school and all, but we need to figure out a way to wash dishes within 48 hours of using them, or it turns into a mess. And I feel like you're just dumping all the housework on me." The guys were like, "Oh my God, of course our dishes aren't your responsibility. Sorry. From now on, don't worry about it, just wash your own stuff." And here's what happened. 3 days ago, roommate number 1, Nathan, went to visit his family. Roommate number 2, Luciano, went to South America with his research group. Roommate number 3, Sanjeet, is probably crashing at his girlfriend's place. They all vanished like morning fog. The next day, I woke up realizing none of the guys were home, but they left a mountain of dirty dishes in the sink. We live in the South, and it's starting to get warm outside, so bugs are showing up, attracted to all the nasty stuff left on the counters. It's day 3 now, and there are gnats and flies swarming around their dishes. Normally, I'd be furious and wash everything, but you know what? I'm refusing to clean their stinky dishes because they said I don't have to. I don't even go into the kitchen anymore, it's gross. Luckily, I have my own bathroom in the master bedroom, and I've decided, just for fun, to wash my dishes in the bathroom sink, which, surprise, has no bugs. Tomorrow, 2 of them are coming back from their trips, and I'm not going to stress one bit when they realize what their laziness leads to. Update. Whoo! Okay, guys. Honestly, I didn't expect my post to get so many comments, so I guess I'm not the only one in this kind of situation. First, to those who said I should have just taken the dirty dishes to their rooms, that wouldn't have been malicious compliance. No one told me to move the dirty dishes anywhere, and honestly, I didn't want to touch that nasty stuff. But I'll keep that strategy in mind if I ever feel like some petty revenge. To those who said I'm deliberately setting our house up for a bug infestation, we live in an old rental in the woods in the South. Bugs are, unfortunately, inevitable, and we just have to deal with them. They usually hang out around the trash can, which is gross, but whatever, it's trash. Plus, I usually spray the bin with chemicals after every trash run. Anyway, it's not just my job to protect the house from bugs, it's everyone's responsibility. That's the whole point. So since all the roommates came back at different times, you'll have to keep track of them separately. Here are their fake names. Roommate 1, who visited his family, is Nathan. Roommate 2, who went to South America, is Luciano. And roommate 3, who was at his girlfriend's, is Sanjeet. So Sanjeet came back first last night with his girlfriend. As far as I can tell, they didn't even go into the kitchen and just headed straight to his room. But this morning, I got unlucky me cat clawed my leg at 7 a.m., so I was wide awake and heard them shuffling to the kitchen for coffee. Sanjeet said the kitchen was a mess, and his girlfriend agreed. Then he added something like, This is why I don't want to cook here, which is actually true. Sanjeet rarely cooks, he mostly orders food, so I'm pretty sure the dishes weren't his. He and his girlfriend left the house pretty quickly after that conversation. Next up was Nathan, who got back around 2 p.m. I was outside cleaning the cat's litter box, the second place in the house that attracts bugs. I heard him come in but didn't want to linger in the living room waiting for him, so I didn't see his first reaction. When I went back inside, he was already in his room unpacking from his trip, and the gross buzzing sound was still coming from the dishes. I went back to my room to put the litter box back and got distracted scrolling on my phone, as you do. About 2 hours later, nothing was happening in the kitchen, and I started getting nervous. Honestly, some of your comments got to me like, "They don't care, now those are your bugs," and stuff like that. I seriously started wondering if they really don't care and if the dishes would just sit there for another 48 hours. What if I got mad and stressed out for nothing? So I came up with a plan B. Plan A, of course, was the ideal scenario where all the roommates realized that living together is a team effort and everyone needs to pitch in. But if that didn't work, Plan B was to wait until everyone was home, herd them into the kitchen and say, "Look at this. These are bugs. You literally left these dishes for over 3 days for me to clean up. Don't tell me it's not yours. Here's the bleach. Here's the insecticide. Get to it." My blood was boiling just thinking about it, and even though I'm small, I can be intimidating. Part of me was even hoping I'd get to execute Plan B and let off some steam. Luckily, at some point, Nathan came out of his room and started making a frozen pizza in the kitchen. I heard dishes clattering, the oven door opening and closing, and the sweet smell of pepperoni wafted through the house. The dishes clattered a bit more, and then Nathan walked toward my room. I heard his footsteps before I saw him. "Hey, Vita, it's me. Hey, how was the trip?" "Fine, I'm just jet-lagged. What happened here?" "You mean the bugs?" "Yeah, what's going on when dishes get left and everyone leaves?" Nathan made a face like, "Ugh, gross. Cleaning stuff's under the sink if you need it." "Okay, thanks." He walked off with such a sour look. The nice part about being the house mom is that when I tell someone to do something directly, they usually do it. So, despite Nathan's grumbling, he started cleaning while the pizza was baking. In my head, I was just like, yes. I even did a little happy dance at my desk, elbow dance and all, and finally relaxed a bit. Nathan didn't just wash the dishes, he cleaned the counters around the sink and even tried to get rid of the bugs with spray. I left him to it and kept scrolling on my phone. I was thinking about posting an update then, but not all the roommates were back yet, and I hadn't seen the final result. What if he half-assed it? I peeked into the kitchen later when I went to make tea, and to my huge surprise, there wasn't a single dish in the sink, and the bugs were noticeably fewer. We live in what's basically a forest cabin, so some fruit flies and gnats are a sad reality, but there were way fewer than a couple of hours ago. Luciano, the last roommate, came back around 8 p.m. in a great mood. He's our party guy and best buds with Nathan. They regularly get wasted together. Our recycling bin is always full of beer cans and empty bottles, almost always from Nathan and Luciano's late-night drinking. Luciano comes back and starts putting beers on the table. Nathan, come here, let's drink." Nathan, apparently sleeping off his jet lag, came out of his room half asleep. 2 cans popped open. "Lou, you owe me at least 5 beers. You made chicken last week, didn't you?" Luciano: Maybe." He opens the fridge. "No, dude, you didn't wash anything. This was all in the sink when I got back." Awkward pause. He closes the fridge. "Shit, yeah, dude, look at this." I'm guessing Nathan took pictures of the sink when he got back and is now showing them to Luciano. This is what it looked like. I know the baking sheet was mine from last week, but at this point, Nathan started talking quieter, and I couldn't make it out. "Sorry, guys, but I think I heard my name." So I'm guessing it was something between a good-natured, "we literally just told Vita she doesn't have to wash our dishes," and an annoyed, "Vita was being a jerk, and I had to clean everything. Either way, I don't care. I'm fine being the villain if it means I get a clean sink. A few minutes ago, I went back to the kitchen to make more tea. Everything looked great. Luciano and Nathan were out on the back porch, smoking like chimneys, and Sanjeet is probably still off with his girlfriend somewhere. Just to be safe, I sprayed the kitchen with insecticide again and wiped it down. It smells like bug spray now, but honestly, let it. Maybe it'll be a reminder. I wish I could fast forward and tell you they never left dishes in the sink again. Time will tell. It seems like Luciano is the main culprit in this whole mess, and I'm a little bummed he didn't get to see the full bug festival with his own eyes. But if Nathan keeps him in check, it'll be fine. I'm sure some of you were hoping for a big roommate showdown, and I was mentally prepared for a fight, but I'm genuinely glad it got resolved without too much drama. I'm definitely saving your strategies for the future. If this happens again, I'll either stack the dirty dishes on their pillows or hide all the clean dishes so they can't use them. Now, moving on to the next story. She cheated on me with multiple guys and tried to take half the house but ended up with just debt. Over 10 years ago, I started dating my ex. I didn't know it then, but she turned out to be a textbook narcissistic jerk. The cast, me obviously, Karen, my ex, aka the witch with a superiority complex. We met through a friend of my brother. I was 20, we were the same age, both from messed up families. I was a seasonal worker picking fruit, sorting at warehouses, that kind of thing. It's tough, but it pays well, with work about 45 weeks a year. She was jobless at the time. We started dating, things were okay. A year later, we moved in together. 6 months after that, she reluctantly got a job but quit after a month when she found out she was 2 months pregnant. That's when we took out a mortgage, and I started working as a kitchen assistant, grueling shifts for peanuts, 6 days a week, out from 7 a.m. to 9 or 11 p.m., depending on how busy it was. I won't lie, it was tough. Our daughter was born. Some people told me she got pregnant to trap me, but I brushed it off. That's when things went downhill. I was working 40 to 68 hours a week, coming home to an angry girlfriend and a trashed apartment. For the record, I don't believe in traditional gender roles. Guys don't have to work, women don't have to clean. It should be a partnership where both handle responsibilities. My typical week: work Tuesday through Sunday, then on Monday, I scrub every dirty plate, mug, and pot we own. Her week: Tuesday and Thursday, television and online shopping. Friday, we get takeout because there's no clean dishware. Saturday and Sunday, she's at her sister's. She had this entitled, "The World Owes Me" attitude. She took control of the finances, and I wasn't allowed to spend anything. It got to the point where she'd yell at me for buying gas to get to work. The amount of money she blew on random crap still makes my blood boil. 5 years went by, and nothing changed. I'm working, cleaning on my day off, and still explaining why I need to spend money on work and gas. One day at work, I got a text from her sister, "Call me ASAP." I told my boss I needed to make an urgent call and went to the storage room. It was the call I'll never forget. "Hey, it's me, Karen's sister. I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but Karen's been cheating on you. Long story short, 7 different guys over 3 years. Even worse, she was spending the money I earned on them, including $800 to fix one of their cars. I was furious. I confronted her, and she ended up admitting most of it once. She realized it came out through her family. I told her I wanted to break up, changed the online banking password, and offered to let her keep the house. She refused, saying she didn't want that worthless dump. We agreed on 50-50th custody. The next 6 months, I was at work, cleaning up years of her impulsive purchase junk and holding it together for our 5-year-old daughter. My job cut my hours and gave me a raise so I wouldn't lose too much money. Karen started dating and even got engaged to one of the guys she cheated with, number 3, I think. Meet Bob. Bob was twice her age, worked 8 hours a week, and wanted to work even less. She was still jobless, of course. and needed money. Then she calls me, "I want my half of the house." By law, we had 2 years to split the property, after which it would fully go to one of us, so technically she had a right to ask. The conversation went like this. Karen: "I've been thinking I want my half of the house." Me: "Okay, I thought you said you didn't want it." "Well, I changed my mind. The house is worth $120,000. By law, I'm entitled to half $60,000, but I'll meet you halfway and take $20,000. I explained that yes, she's entitled to half by law, but it's about equity. The house's current value minus the debt. The house was valued at $120,000 by local authorities, but we still owed $115,000 on the mortgage. We would have owed less, but she kept pulling money out. Plus, housing prices tanked that year. So, in reality, there's only $5,000 to split. I said, "I'm willing to give you that $5,000, take your name off the mortgage, and pay for a lawyer to remove you from the deed. That'll cost me $10,000 total. You'll get $5,000 cash more than if we sold the house now." Her response: "You owe me more than $5,000. My offer is $30,000 by next week or we sell the house." And that's when my malicious compliance kicked in. I calmly said, "Okay," and hung up, letting her think she won. She even texted me the same nonsense. I booked a lawyer, ordered a letter, and met with 2 real estate agents. A week later, Karen came to my place, still had a key, and I handed her an envelope. Thinking it was a check, she snatched it, tore it open, and pulled out a letter from my lawyer. In short, it said, "Karen, per your message dated date, screenshot attached, the following: my client, my name, will vacate the property by date. All mortgage payments to date have been made by my client. Since you haven't used the property, we won't seek compensation for those payments. My client spent $7,000 on repairs, receipts attached. As co-owner, we demand $3,500 in compensation. My client paid $1,500 in utilities and taxes, receipts attached. We demand $750 in compensation. Additionally, from the move-out date to the sale, you're responsible for half of the mortgage payments, taxes, utilities, and necessary sale prep costs." She realized what a mess she was in. Karen: "Okay, fine, just give me $5,000. "No, you said if I don't give you $30,000 by today, we sell the house." "I was joking." "No, you weren't." "Fine, 4-0. "No, $3,000 and I'll throw in something extra." She winked and stepped back. "No, we're selling." She started yelling again. "I can't afford this. You know I'm jobless and Bob barely works. We need money for the wedding." Not my problem. I also offered to let her talk to the real estate agents. They told me if we want to sell for a profit, we'd need to put in another $2,000 or we'd likely lose money. Both appraisers valued it at around $110,000. At her request, we used her lawyer for the sale. Based on her written promise to repay me, I went ahead, spent $2,000, and ordered a reappraisal. They said a profit was possible. The sale took 9 weeks, 15 with paperwork. She owed me $8,000. After all expenses, commissions, and paying off the mortgage, we made a $19,000 profit. In true Karen fashion, she assumed, since it was her lawyer, all the money was automatically hers. I told the lawyer she owed me $8,000 and the money should stay in escrow until she agreed to pay. Per settlement laws, both parties have to agree on how to split the profit before the lawyer distributes it. Karen was furious and threatened to sue her own lawyer. 3 months later, the money's still with the lawyer, and Karen calls me, "Look, I know things are awkward between us, but I really need my half. Let's just split it and I'll pay you back $20 a week. No, you'll get your money after you settle with me. You can just pay it out of your share." Long pause, whispering probably with Bob. "Karen, if we agree to give you $7,000 from the total, will you consider the debt settled?" That leaves me $2,500. I know, but I really need the money. Okay, put it in writing and we're good. Update. Regarding our daughter, we still have 50/50 custody. I try to support her relationship with her mom, stay respectful, remind her to call her mom, and don't badmouth Karen, even though I don't get the same respect back. I do it for my kid. Update 2. We did a DNA test. She's definitely my biological daughter. After 5 years of raising her, she's mine either way. Update 3. Thanks for the kind words. My dad went through something similar with my mom, but stayed strong for us kids. He asked us to call our mom, drove us 6 hours to see her every couple of months, and never said a bad word about her, even though she called him awful things. When Karen and I split, he finally told me the truth that they divorced because of her cheating. He didn't say it to ruin her reputation, but asked me not to tell my siblings. He said, "No matter who Karen is or what she did, she's your kid's mom." I was 25, and it hurt a lot. It explained a lot, too. I'm curious about your thoughts, especially on the second story. There's this common idea that kids from broken families end up in similar situations later in life. Do you agree or disagree? Maybe you know people like this, or maybe you have your own story to share about how things turned out for you. I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure others would too. Wow, what a roller coaster. From a bug-infested kitchen to a shady ex getting hit with a reality check, these stories show what happens when you stand your ground. Have you ever had to deal with messy roommates like Vita or a toxic ex like Karen? Drop your craziest stories in the comments. I'm dying to read them, and I bet others are too. If you love these tales, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let me know what other wild real-life dramas you want me to dive into next. Catch you in the next video.